Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today is pig weaning day. So we got to separate the wee lads from the sows. And that's also the time, that weaning period is also the time that I train them to electric fence. So it's kind of a double whammy here, and one of them's eating my shoes. Come on, dude. So they're obviously anxious for dinner time. Or actually, they're always anxious for dinner time. And so I've got to do some modifications here into the weaning area. This is where we'll be weaning on this side of the farrowing barn. So they'll be locked up in here, as well as, excuse me, starting right here, we'll close this gate. And that just gives them this small paddock in the shade with water. It just comes around back here behind the farrowing barn. We've got some wallows, obviously doing rain catchment, so we got plenty of opportunities there for them to have water, for shade. We'll feed them in here, and there'll be electric fence along the perimeter. And I've actually left most of this in place since last time. When we isolate the sows for farrowing, at least that's the plan, we lock them up in here if they stay in. See previous videos for issues there. But then it also doubles as our weaning paddock. So trying to multi-stack function there and not have to build a whole bunch of different things, but also keep them safe. So you can see here that Pepper, Kelly named these pigs, I can't keep them straight. Pepper, the real skinny one there, she's the dominant mama. She's the one that has been taking care of the piglets the last 8 weeks. And she's definitely lost weight. She's super thin. So it's time to take, definitely time to take the piglets off. We're at an 8-week window here. What's interesting here is you see Noelle. She obviously is the one that had the bad litter, lost everything, or actually what we managed to keep, we moved over to Pepper. But she actually started bagging up again because she's co-nursing, but hasn't lost the weight that Pepper has. So we're going to obviously dry them both off and separate the piglets because it is time. One mod we're going to do to this side of the farrowing barn is closing the gaps. You can see where that piglet's got his head sticking through? That means they can squeeze through. The reason why is this, I kept backfilling this. When we wean, of course, the piglets used to come in here and go to the bathroom for 2 weeks. So poop piles up. So I keep putting wood chips in, so it keeps raising the level. It's a dirt floor, so it's not like I can just come in here and scoop it out easy, but we keep throwing wood chips in to mitigate that. So there's no smell, but it's raised the level of the dirt. So I need to put some cross braces in there because they'll just jump through it. Whereas before it was down so low that they couldn't. So that's the first thing we're going to do, put some boards in place, make sure we've secured our weaning area so nobody's going to be popping out. All right, so I got some boards in place. Man, this has got to be the dustiest, dirtiest place. Pig dust, there's just something unique about it. So one thing I need to do is dry run all my gates, make sure they work. So like this one, for example, I did it off camera. I had to raise this one up. Don't want to raise it too high so piglets don't get under it. But I want to make sure it closes, so that's good. And then if we need to lock the sows up or isolate somebody for some reason, then we want to double check this one. This one I have mounted this one real high because usually it's the sows on this side. Yeah, so that one works. So we can lock up sows. Piglets could probably squeeze under that one. The reason why I raise them are they just keep changing the level of the floor. If this was a concrete floor, then of course they couldn't change that height. But since it's not, then it becomes an issue. And then next is our big cutoff gate, which is really heavy. And it has a little bit of a sink to it. I may have to put the camera down and do this. All right, that seemed to work. There's a bit of a gap that I have that is piglet sized. So we need to cover that up. So I've got a couple extra boards we'll use, kind of just tack those temporarily in place. All right, went ahead and got the piglets separated. We'll see if they stay in there as I dress up some of these issues. I don't think they can get out of that paddock. You know how that goes. Famous words eaten, right? So I like using these step-in posts because they're temporary. You can drop them in the ground pretty easily. But of course, anytime you try to put tension on them, they get a little wonky. And of course, the little fiberglass tabs break off pretty quickly. So I'm just using some wire here, and we're gonna try to secure this step-in post, get a little more tension here to make this corner. Now, I've done several weaning videos already to explain why we do, how we do, why we do it. So I won't get into all the gory details, but really the simple concept is you want a hot wire with a solid structure on the other side, because a pig's natural instinct when it hits that wire is going to go forward. So if they go forward, hit an obstruction that keeps them from getting out, then they're going to get hit again. So pig is extremely smart. So he's like, that was twice. I'm going to now turn back up, turn left, turn right, that type of thing. So literally in the 2 weeks that it takes to dry off the 2 sows, these 11 piglets will be pretty tuned in to electric. They've already had some experience with it already because they've had free range of the pasture, and there's places where they can just walk under it and not feel it, but there's other places where they get it in the ear. So they know what it's about. But as soon as we energize this, then this is going to be a great training session for them. So if you're used to the fat, white, lazy pig, then these Tamworth large black crosses are going to give you a surprise. They've definitely given me a surprise from time to time. These long-legged pigs are very athletic, and they jump fence that my old Duroc Hampshire mixes wouldn't even think about jumping. And these little turkeys can go right over it. See what I mean? Pigs really like hard-boiled eggs. That's how I lured them in here. So we can give them a little bit more to enjoy. All right, so seems like with every board I make things heavier and heavier and heavier. So added an extra board here just in case they could squeeze out, who knows, Olympic pigs. So last thing I need to do is I'm going to close this gate, and I'm going to close it permanently for the 2 weeks. It's not something I'm going to be opening and closing because I've got the gate around back that I'll go through to service. But what I've got to watch is because of my hinge pins and stuff, it's a little wide here, so we're just going to close the gate, lock it down, and put 2 big flat vertical boards. You guys wonder why I leave stuff laying around up here. These boards laying there over the hill, those are the ones that I use. Anytime I try to stack anything up against the barn, of course, the pigs knock it over. So we'll put those in place and even drive a T-post in through the chain of the gate, simply because what happens, sometimes the sows like to come up and push from this side because they like the cooler spot as well. So sometimes they'll push and try to knock that over. So I need to have the T-post to help keep force from going that way. Everything set up for the piglets, of course, keeps force from going this way. All right, water and trough's a little funky, so I think I'm going to rinse it out and get them some new. food. Get up, Mr. Toad. Hey, hold your ears. All right, it looks like we've got a pretty good thunderstorm coming. Keep hearing thunder off in the distance, and the west is getting dark. So the water trough is still filling up, but I think I'm going to go ahead and loose the piglets. Make sure I latch my gate and see how they do here on this first training go around. So that'll take a bit for that trough to fill up. Let's let these wee devils out. Let's pick up my drill first. Hey, wee devils. Feel like you're in prison for 2 weeks. Oh, bunch of lazyheimers in here, huh? You guys know the rain's coming too, don't you? All right, so in this configuration, the mamas still get a place to hang out and sleep. And of course the piglets will be beside them, but hopefully this keeps weaning from going on. But it's funny, even though she's getting drawn down as much as she is, she'll actually try to gain access to them to feed them. So they actually nurse even at their own detriment. Yeah, that's not good. I think we'll bite to it. Nudge. All right, she's definitely starting to complain in the sky, and I think we're going to get wet here in about 10 minutes. So I need to get the side-by-side in the garage because all my tools are in it, and I think we're good to go. The trough is pretty much full. I'm going to shut it off, but I'll come back tonight and check on them. But even if one gets out, it's not a huge deal. It actually could help the sow keep from forming mastitis if there was one or two still nursing, but obviously that makes that tricky. I prefer to have everybody in all at once. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you all posted. All right, take care, everybody.